Well, about 8 years ago, I walked past a theater that had a sign in the window and it said, Solo Performance Workshop, and I had no idea what that was. And so I took the workshop, and it was storytelling. And we spent all weekend working on our personal stories, and at the end of the weekend, we had a show, and everybody had such a great time. We were like, we've got to do more of this. We had no idea. When I took this workshop and we started doing this, we weren't aware of anything. The Moth wasn't in town yet. There was no community. We had no idea what we were doing. We had to figure out what we were doing. Now there's like 30 or 40 shows a month. You can go see live storytelling any night of the week. I kind of got to grow up alongside that movement in Chicago and learn from it and contribute to it and also welcome others into it, which is the thing I get most excited about.
I think that Scott's style of teaching is really important. He has a way of making the room so safe, and people are willing to take risks with him in the environment that he sets up that I am surprised by sometimes.
Scott makes it an environment where like you can't fail. The rule of just don't apologize is, I think, brilliant. You know, I had the right mix of people that were committed to it, those ideas and experimentation. I mean, there was really freedom to experiment.
Telling a story, honing it down, retelling it the next week, getting to a point where you're able to actually, perform it before an audience.
Scott's a very generous person. What I admire about him is that I think he really lives what he teaches, and that is rare to find someone who's not only saying, like, here's how you do it, but they're doing it. And just being in a group of people is super helpful. You have to be in front of people, and he facilitates that and makes that possible, and I think has changed a lot of the way that Chicago does storytelling.
I look up to Scott a lot as far as that, because he actually, I don't think he realizes how much he's helping people. I always tell him that, like, you're awesome, like, you're amazing, you're inspiring.
I think he's a really important person. I think that maybe more than any other one individual, Scott's responsible for the urban renaissance of storytelling in Chicago. When we go to these events and we see who's there, it's tons of 20-somethings and 30-somethings who are saying, this storytelling stuff, I'm lined up at the door. Between the way Scott is teaching people to find and tell their stories, between the way he's gathering inexperienced voices and telling them, nope, it matters what you're doing, and then gathering very experienced voices, senior tellers in the community who know a thing or two about the craft of storytelling, and bringing older voices and younger voices together in different Chicago venues, it's exciting.
My philosophy on storytelling, first of all, is that I don't believe in that thing that most people say, like, oh, there's great storytellers, and then there's people who can't do it. I'm somebody who maybe can't do it as well. It's true. Some people maybe have a knack for it or a natural ability, or, have kind of honed that unintentionally. But with storytelling, it doesn't matter if you come in here like, wow, you really just do that naturally well. Or you come in here where it's like, oh, it's a struggle anytime I try it. There's unlimited room for growth for everyone. It's a craft that you can learn while keeping it natural, while keeping it specific to you. It's not a craft, again, like, oh, well, I learned this formula and tell all my stories this way and it'll work. It's learning about yourself. It's learning about what makes a good story, but how you tell a story. Do you add character voices to it? Do you like to have a twist?
I know a lot of people who take Scott's class who are like, well, I work in some business or whatever, and I need to learn how to tell stories. I need to learn, it's just important for everything. Like, in the world of business, people discovered PowerPoint and thought, this is the thing, this is how we communicate. And the truth is, I have experienced few things that are as deadly as PowerPoint, and I've experienced a lot of death by bullet point as people read their slides to us. And I don't think there's anything inherently evil about PowerPoint, but it's not the way to really communicate. If you have any emotional content or any inspirational content at all, PowerPoint's not going to get you there. There's so many times I've been in the audience and I'm like, oh man, yeah, oh, that, or I'm like, oh yeah, I totally get it. Or, you know, or I might be inspired for another story. A shared experience. It's like therapy. It really is like therapy. That's what it feels like. So that's kind of how I use it, storytelling. Things that...
In storytelling, you get to go back in your life. I get to go back. I get to revisit these times in my life that I've sort of forgotten about. Like I have one story about when I rode the freights with a college friend of mine. I think one of the beauties of storytelling is it's about finding your own voice. You can live with people for years and you don't know much about them. And sometimes you can just fall over backwards when they somehow tell you a story about something they did and you had no idea.
In this high-tech world, we're discovering the value of high-touch experiences. And storytelling, this intimate, people speaking from the heart, this eye-to-eye art form, it's intimate, it's high-touch, and it is power.
When it starts and when you look out at that audience and you see someone taking a risk and sharing who they are, and a room full of people just hanging on every word and connecting with them and right there with them, there's nothing like that. And I'm lucky that I have some resources and I've gotten a position where I can help create that for other people. It's fun.